kind of guy who wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I watch some replay of CNBC or Fox, and I hear people saying ridiculous things. You know, I watch people who are from both parties saying that they can put it off until tomorrow again. And then I go into one of my kids' bedrooms at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wander around, and I just think they're going to leave it all to them. But now it's not even like 1970 when they were doing it, or 1980 when they were doing it, or 10 years ago when they were doing it, or even when Bush was destroying the country. Now it can't be left to them. The numbers don't add up. And so we got to balance the budget, and we need to show them how. And there could be arguments over it, but if you're the President of the United States, you should introduce a balanced budget every year. You should. You should say, here's what, by the way, you don't have to pass it, Congress, you can keep running deficits, but here's the balanced budget. But we need to be able to show people so that when they hear something on TV, they go, that's not true. That's not what we want. That's not true. Instead of like, oh, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, Armageddon. No, it wouldn't be Armageddon. But maybe balance the budget. We have to cut some stuff out. Well, several months ago, as we were trying to fix America through a plan that we were devising, John Dodoff and I sat down and said, well, if we're going to tell people we have to balance the budget, we might as well sit around and balance the budget. So we gathered all kinds of information, and we went through all kinds of documents and spent a long time doing it, and we came up with a balanced budget. This is the budget. This is what goes on in America today. This is what we spend money on. So we got Medicare, Medicaid, we got Social Security, defense, unemployment, other discretionary. So I'll just put this back over here if that's okay. And let's get to it. Senator Tom Coburn, who we hope to go see in Washington in the next couple of weeks, who pushed for the report, estimates it identifies between $100 billion and $200 billion in duplicative spending. We can definitely take $100 billion out of the $2.2 trillion. So here we are. I said Iraq, Afghanistan, but we know Afghanistan, Iraq is $125 billion. Right. So that's 125 between both countries to be round in the numbers. We're getting out of there. We would just not do it. We would take a cost-benefit analysis on it, and we would save 200. So we're at 300 billion. Right. How much we spend on education subsidies, for example? Any idea?
40 billion.
Are the education test scores in America up, or are they down? Has the federal government got very involved in the Department of Education, like under I guess Carter? It's down. So we just can't have that anymore. We have to tell people it'd be much better for the local people to make local decisions. 340 billion. All right. We haven't touched a lot of things. What about farm subsidies? How much is that per year?
That's 25 billion a year.
So 25 billion. Do you know why?
Canada doesn't have any.
Canada doesn't have any?
I don't think so.
Okay, so how much is that costing us?
Housing subsidies is that's 45 billion.
45 billion. All right, here we go. What about transportation programs?
Transportation programs, that's 85 billion.
Federal worker pay. How much should we cut that?
We could cut that by 20 billion according to CADA.
20 billion. All right, keep going. Energy subsidies.
20 billion.
Another 20 billion. Social Security.
50 billion.
50 billion. This is especially about Social Security. And here's where the real rub is. It's a Representative Cantor from Virginia, always with a big smile, always with the perfect hair, letting everybody know again that nobody over the age of, I think, 53 is going to suffer from any of the Republican changes in Social Security. Folks, we literally can't do that anymore. We don't have as many young people as we have old people. So the young people can't possibly bear the burden to support the old people. It has to be, again, everybody in. We can't do that. It should be set every year, because here's the basic problem. All these plans other people have put it way out into the future. But we have a budget that goes out for 1 year, and nobody who gets elected the next year or the year after is beholden to that 1 year budget. So we're going to have to take 50 billion minimum out of Social Security. Yeah. Again, we could make 75 billion. We could do whatever. But if you're the President of the United States and you're the Congress and you don't show up to balance the budget, you shouldn't be there. What about Medicaid, Medicare? Again, Cato Institute.
Right. That's a combined number. They have that at 100 billion.
100 billion. But we have to change it so that we pay out less. I mean, this is what I think America has to understand, is that nothing can be sacred. And when we find a farmer or a small business owner or someone who lives in a certain part of the country, or someone in the military who might have to get out of the military if we cut back, or someone on Social Security because we have to cut that back, someone's a truck driver, whatever, are they in? Are they in like when you're growing up playing hoop like I was playing basketball? Are you in? Like, are we all in? Because if we're not all in, and it becomes the Republicans attack the Democrats attack the Republicans, and they say they don't care about the poor, they don't care about whatever it might be that is the flavor of the day, we can't do this. It has to be done all at once. Foreign aid,
15 billion.
we offer you this. We offer you freedom. Otherwise, we have to stop all this foreign aid. But over in Egypt, when Egypt was having revolts, we sent them over $1 million a year.
Yeah.
We're going to go through places where people don't have running water in America. We're going to go through roads that need to be fixed. Bridges, we can't be giving out foreign aid to countries that hate us, or any countries for that matter. We're just going to stop, tell them we can't do it.
Right.
Healthcare.
If I remember, that's a full repeal of Obamacare. That's 16 billion.
All right, so 16 billion. Obviously, we have to repeal Obamacare. The thought process, whether it was Mitt Romney who thought it up in Massachusetts, or President Obama and his minions who came through, was that we're going to insure more people for less money. Just one big lie theory. And then international development, we actually spend $4 billion on international development.
Right. I think that's trying to get people to like us.
All right, so you might not like us, but we're going to keep the money. Government reform, $9 billion, I have, right?
Yeah.
So right there, we're at $700 billion.
I have this over 800.
800 billion. All right, so we're trying to take a trillion out. We've done 800 billion. Again, some people wouldn't like it. Lots of people wouldn't like it. It absolutely has to be done. The alternative, again, let's just go through some of the slides we're going to bring. John?
Yeah.
We have a national debt of roughly 14 trillion. There's a Democratic plan and a Republican plan that keeps the debt going up past 20 trillion. Disaster awaits. Why? But today's interest cost is 226 billion. It's 10% of our budget. We take in about 2.2 trillion. Tomorrow's interest cost will be about $1 trillion. Why? Because we should be thinking that we'll be borrowing at the average, which is 6%, but let's just say 5%. 20 trillion times 5% is $1 trillion. Well, revenue to the federal government grows at about 3% per year. So looking at the 2020, it'll be 40% of our budget. Again, our budget, I don't want to mark this up with a marker, but which one is going to go? When this interest cost, which is 10%, goes like this to become 40%, well, you can't get blood out of a stone. Once you flip over, once people say, whoa, there's a risk there, it doesn't just go to 5, it goes to 10. And then it's over. Why do we let our elected officials put us at such risk? They're our elected officials. They're supposed to be looking out for our kids, for the future. Why are they risking our whole way of life? We borrow cheap because we're the world's reserve currency. We borrow cheap because we're the most powerful country. We borrow cheap because we're the world's superpower. We're the beacon of light. If we're not, it all flips around. So, but we can't survive $20 trillion of debt, but the Bush-Obama people, I just call it the Bush-Obama plan, that's where we're going. George Bush started it, in a degree that it couldn't be stopped, and Obama came in and finished the job. So we're at about 800 billion, but we've also got to increase revenue. Okay, let's just go to some of these documents I saved. People ought to know, here we are, our tax system, 6.1 billion hours per year, according to MarketWatch, is spent on our tax code. And it's just a gibberish. No one understands it. Anybody who makes any serious money, even people who don't, go get an accountant. It's $300 to $400 million. It requires 3 million full-time workers. It's insanity. We shift everything out of the income tax system and put it into a consumption system. Because what do we really want? We want people to save. If we want anything at all, we want people to save for the future so that they don't rely totally on Social Security. So let's tax consumption and only consumption. Do away with all these problems. We don't want to just move to a system that we have today and collect 2.2 trillion. We want to go to another system, and if we're taxing people on the consumption of a car, we're going to capture the illegal aliens. Like there's a lot of them. There's 10 million minimum in our country. They're buying cigarettes and gum. Let's capture that money from people who are leeching off the system. So that's one thing we got to do. I do have a document, a very interesting document. I remember this one. That at current rates, 25% of our income tax would be equivalent to a flat tax of 17% or a fair tax of 23%. It's right here. Good document. But I think that we would jumpstart the economy with a fair tax or at least a flat tax. So as I look at the situation, I think that we should balance our budget every day. I don't think we should be trading with China. And I think we absolutely, even though every president said Nixon has said it and done nothing about it, we have to get off foreign oil, especially from the Middle East. That'll help my children live a safer life. Through that, we can create a lot of jobs. So we've created complete solutions.